Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again. See Sparky Fifer with you live from Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound. Brewer fans are here. Hey, y'all, I don't see any Cub fans anywhere. Where the Cub fans all go? Cub fans are all gone?
Oh, you're so funny. You're so funny, Sparky.
Oh, man, that's too bad. I wonder what they're doing tonight. I wonder. Probably just having a couple beverages. Oh, their football team plays tonight. Don't their football team play tonight?
Yes, their football team plays tonight, and we will be watching that instead. All right.
Oh, well, y'all enjoy your football game because your baseball team's done. That's too bad. Let's talk about another team that wins besides the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's talk about those Packers in a green and gold update.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan with Steve Sparky Fifer.
Lejoining us now on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. You follow him, of course, on Twitter at Peter_Bukowski, part of the Leap newsletter, and Locked On Packers podcast. He is the aforementioned Peter Bukowski. Good afternoon, Mr. Bukowski. How are you?
I'm good. We can't talk Cubs. I would love to talk some Cubs because they're done.
They're done. Yes, they are absolutely done. The L flag and the picture and the people at the Score in Chicago are all mad about it, and it makes me really put a smile on my face when I hear David Hawk crying down in Chicago about it. It makes me happy. Okay, Mr. Bukowski, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. We've talked about them quite a bit today after a win against the Bengals yesterday. My main thing here is they must figure out a way to get more of a consistent pass rush throughout a football game right now if they're going to beat some of the top teams in the NFC going forward.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think what has also been apparent is teams are just not going to let that pass rush beat them if at all possible. It is just quick game right now. And Joe Flacco did it twice. And Micah Parsons talked about it both times. Like, all they want to do is get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. Now, in this game, it's a little bit different because you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You can just throw the ball up to those guys. Quick game for them is different than quick game against most teams. And so I think that is one key difference here for the Packers. Now, on 3rd and 8, times when they do have to push the ball down the field, it has been a different situation, and they do need to, in those situations, I think, find ways to get more pass rush in a situation where, hey, everyone knows in the building you got to pass and you're going to have to push the ball down the field. They have to find ways to get Micah Parsons free, and Micah Parsons, he has to be better. I mean, there's just no way around. He has to be more impactful on the game.
What about stopping the run going forward with this Packers football team? Because, again, once you get to the Philadelphia Eagles of the world and you have to deal with Saquon Barkley and so forth, that's going to become more of an issue. Hell, even Rico Dowdle from the Carolina Panthers is going to be more of an issue based on what he's done the last several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the run defense, it felt worse, I think, watching the game than it did ultimately after the game. And I felt it too. And then I went back and I looked and I was like, oh, Chase Brown, only had about 40 yards and less than 4 yards to carry. I guess it wasn't as bad as it felt like it was in real time. There were a couple runs on that one drive in particular coming out of halftime, the 10-minute drive where like they pushed the pile, the one play in particular where, it's 2nd and 10 and the run goes for 2 yards, but they pushed the pile for another 7 yards. And it's like, those were kinds of plays that were not happening to the Packers early in this season. And it's the rallying to the football and playing with sports that they're just not doing at the same level right now as they were the first 2 weeks of the season. They were playing with force and speed early on. Now they're still playing fast. You saw that in the first half, but we saw that in the first half against Dallas. They played 3 really good games defensively, complete defensive games, and then 2 really good halves of football. They need to find a counterpunch when teams want to slow everything down and then attack you with the quick passing game. and the running game, they have to have better answers for that in the second half, because that is in both of these games the last 2 weeks, that has been where they've had some issues.
That's the other thing, too, about the defenses and what this defense has looked like to this point. I think coming into the season without Jair Alexander, I think the question was going to be, can you get by without having that top-flight corner? Now, I know Alexander has been hurt the last couple of years, so you've been having to do it regardless. Keyshawn Nixon was a guy that wanted to be cornerback one coming into the season. The question was, how good could Nate Hobbs be? And then he quickly got hurt multiple times, so we still may not know truly what Nate Hobbs is. But in your opinion, what have you seen so far from Hobbs?
I need to see more. I mean, that's kind of a cop-out answer. I understand that. But I thought in real time against the Cowboys that he struggled. I went back and watched it and went, oh, okay, well, I don't know what he's supposed to do in some of these situations where he's just out-leveraged based on the coverage. I mean, the first touchdown where Dak Prescott gets him on an in-breaking route, he's expecting to have safety help to the middle of the field and doesn't get it. And he just has no shot against that call and with that coverage. And so, sometimes I think we overestimate the impact a player can have when you have the wrong play call for that particular concept. Matt LaFleur doesn't know what the defense is calling the same way Jeff Hafley doesn't know what the offense is calling.
Right.
I would like to see the attitude more. I would like to see hey, I'm going to come up and make a tackle on somebody. I'm going to punch the ball loose, because what did we hear all training camp? Hey, turnovers. We're punching at the ball, everything. All the beat reporters, we've never seen them punch the ball out so much, all the balls on the ground. Has there been one fumble? Have the Packers forced one fumble this season? We haven't seen any of it, and that's where I thought someone like Nate Hobbs would be able to give you something.
I got his stat here from earlier today. Peter Bukowski from Dyer Carriger, who we all like. Packers Tucker Kraft has 3 touchdowns and a 9.9 average yards after catch through the first 6 weeks of the season. Since 2006, only one other tight end has accomplished this feat. That was Tucker Kraft last year. Do they need to get him more involved than what they did? Literally yesterday, I was at the game up in the air, so I didn't have a great opportunity to see really numbers as much as I wanted to, but I could see the zero of Golden and so forth. But literally, until Tucker Kraft scored that touchdown, I thought maybe he got traded, maybe he got hurt. I didn't know what happened to Tucker Kraft. And he showed up and scored a touchdown, which I was relieved about, Peter Bukowski. But don't they have to use him more?
Yeah, I mean, my question would be, how would you like to see him used more? I mean, I'm with you. I'd like to see him get more opportunities. I don't know what those opportunities look like. I think that the way that they use him now on these like little play action slide routes, I think that's a great usage of his talents. They use him, think about the Washington game. That seemed to me to be the optimal usage for Tucker Kraft, when you can get into heavy personnel, when you get into 12 and 13. So you're getting into 2 and 3 tight end sets. You are basically saying, we know you're going to play single high coverage. And so now your linebackers are going to have to cover the tight ends one-on-one. And that's where, Tucker Kraft can really shine. The problem is, I think this is really a function of the run game. We just haven't seen the run game do enough. And they've been using it too much. I was just putting out some numbers. They are 23rd in neutral situation pass rate, which is just a fancy way of saying early downs when the game is still in doubt. 23rd. And yet, when they throw the ball, they are 3rd in EPA per drop. They just need to throw the ball more on early downs. And they have been awesome with play action this year. That's the early down pass game, play action. And so they could be spamming the play action button even more to me as they move forward here. And that is exactly what you're talking about. That is Tucker Kraft in space. It's those play action boots where he's getting the ball. I mean, 9.9 yards per after the catch per catch. That's a first down every time he touches the ball. I said it during the game, one of the best plays in the NFL is Tucker Kraft's yard after catch opportunities. They do, to your point, have to find more of those opportunities. They need to use him exactly the way they're using him, just more. I mean, more passes and more passes exactly. They don't need to get into the gun 5 wide receivers and play like this is 2007 or 2011 or even parts of 2021. It doesn't have to be that. It just needs to be a little more aggressive with the passing game on early downs.
Talking with Peter Bukowski of the Leap Newsletter and Locked On Packers podcast. He joins us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. See Sparky Fifer with you. He joins us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. All right, the other thing about this is that idea of, okay, they don't have a true number one wide receiver. We've all heard that and so forth. After the game last night, they're talking about the idea of not wanting to force the ball to anybody and so forth. But you tell me if I'm wrong. It felt like he was trying to force it to Romeo Doubs was getting the ball throughout that game. Matthew Golden had a couple big plays, and then he disappeared for quite a while in that game as well. I don't know if I necessarily disagree with the idea of not wanting to force the ball, but I am of the idea of wanting to get the guys that have the ability to make the biggest plays the ball as much as often. And when you get Christian Watson back to go with Matthew Golden, with all due respect to Romeo Doubs, those other two guys better be getting their fair share of balls thrown to them.
Yeah, it just seems obvious at this point, doesn't it, that the most explosive receiver on the team right now is Matthew Golden, and the most reliable, really offensive player on the team right now, I would say, is Tucker Kraft. And so I think Romeo Doubs is a nice player. He's a consistent player on 3rd and 6th. And in the red zone, they're going to go to him. I think that's great. He's kind of like, the receiver version of like, I'm underselling it a little bit, but the receiver version of Bubba Franks back in the day, like inside the 5-yard line, he's just money. And that's a very dated reference. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So they are not going to change this egalitarian style that they play with. And Matt LaFleur said it after the game. He was basically like, it's basically like the old Nick Saban, I'm not going to answer it, so quit asking. He's basically like, I'm not changing. Like, this is the offense. And so if you don't like it, that's fine, but this is what we're doing. And on some level, I respect that. I think what happened, truly, is the 2021 playoff game might have scarred Matt LaFleur for life, because all Aaron Rodgers wanted to do was throw the ball to either Devontae Adams or Aaron Jones. And I think Matt LaFleur came away from that game going, we can't live like that ever again. The team just cannot survive if that is the way the offense functions. And isn't it interesting that when Devontae is not out there in 2019, 2020, 21, and then even in 2022 in stretches, the offense just felt like it had a different rhythm and flow. And I was never the guy that was like, oh, he's there's too much Devontae Adams in the offense. No, he was the best receiver in the NFL in 2020 and 2021. Throw the ball. But you can become too reliant on one guy. I think there is a balance here, though, between finding opportunities for your guy and moving forward. I think I'm preempting it a little bit, but my pal Jason Hershorn over at The Leaf is writing for tomorrow about some of the core concepts that the Packers have brought back, and we saw brought back on Sunday. They have a core group of concepts that they like to run, that they have not run a ton this year. And they will tell you who they think their best receiver is based on who is running what part of those concepts. And Matthew Golden was getting some of those deep over opportunities. And if that continues, they'll be telling us who they think their best receiver is, even if that guy is not going to get force-fed touches. Matthew Golden, 4th and 6 against the Cowboys. That's the guy they threw to. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 on Sunday. Who did they throw the ball to? Matthew Golden. So I think that is going to continue. He was a clutch player at Texas. He can be a clutch player in Green Bay too.
He is our guy, Peter Bukowski from the Leap Newsletter. Check him out. Locked on Packers podcast. It's our Green and Gold update powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Peter, tell everybody what they can find if they search you on Twitter at Peter_Bukowski.
Well, we got the Leap Newsletter, which you mentioned. Locked on Packers is Monday through Friday. Our new squad show series, which is an absolute blast. Brandon Schneid, who your audience probably knows, does our Locked On Brewers postcast, but he's our host for the squad show. And then our old pal, Jeff Jagosinski, the old Packers offensive coordinator, comes on, and the three of us have a great time chopping it up Wednesday evening, 7:15. And then after the game, I do a half an hour, and then we do another hour on the Locked On Packers squad show. It's a great time. Go check that out.
There he is, Peter Bukowski. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
There he is, Peter Bukowski on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Let's talk about our friends over there at Wendy's. Mornings can all start to feel the same. So if you're looking for a fresh wake-up call, look no further than Wendy's Breakfast. Try a breakfast Baconator with his fresh cracked eggs and crispy bacon, a grilled sausage breakfast burrito, or maybe even a honey buddy. Don't even think about sleeping on Wendy's seasoned potatoes and English muffin sandwiches. Doesn't matter what you go for, it's going to change your life. Okay, well, it'll at least freshen up your morning. Ready for a fresh wake-up call? It's got to be Wendy's. Take a quick time out, come back on the other side. The Brewers went 6-0 against the LA Dodgers in the regular season. How does that change expectations for the NLCS? That's straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound, courtesy of Sun Cruiser. Vodka iced tea made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. No bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Plus, each Sun Cruiser is only 100 calories and 4.5% alcohol, making it the perfect fit for anywhere your watch party takes you. Crack one open today and let the good times cruise, Milwaukee. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain, steps away from American Family Field. We get ready for the Brewers and Dodgers game 1 tonight. The leadoff show, part of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, comes up from 5 until 7 tonight. Tommy Wirtz will be hosting. I'll be staying down here, co-hosting from Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain. All kinds of fun swag to get if you come on out here. We have our Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea shirts and hats that you can get plenty of those to come and grab when you stop in here to Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain. Again, great food, great drink, lots and lots of Brewers fans, and most importantly, no Cub fans here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain. Why? Because they are done for the season.
Are there any Dodgers fans there?
Too bad. No.
Oh.
I don't see any. Not a single one to this point. No. Not so far. I've not seen
I was wondering if there'd be any like bandwagons just hanging out at Kelly's Bleachers for the Dodgers and stuff.
I would assume that you'll probably have a better chance of seeing more maybe tomorrow if there's going to be any. Otherwise, Game 6 or Game 7, I would assume that's when they're going to descend to Milwaukee at that point. That would be my guess. But we'll see. We'll see what it looks like tonight at American Family Field. Speaking of that Brewers game, tonight, Robin Yount throwing out the first pitch. I think that is a good idea. Foul line intro 3 minutes before first pitch, according to Adam McKelvey. A big fan of Robin Yount throwing out the first game. You start talking about, this Mount Rushmore of Brewers that everybody always talks about. Yount and Euchre on all of them. Right, Charlie?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty easy. We talked about this. We were talking about if Christian Yelich maybe would sneak in there. And I think, but Yount and Molitor are by far the two easily out.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So we have got that going on. Plus, Adam McKelvey says the odds of Quinn Priester following Ashby at some point in tonight's game are 73%, said Pat Murphy. Then he amended it to 71%. As McKelvey says, adjust your record. So it makes sense that Ashby starts. Quinn Priester will be the second guy coming out of the Brewers bullpen before you get to see a third pitcher for the Brewers. Goal-wise, as far as what you want to see out of Quinn Priester, I think at this point is you want Priester to be able to get you 3 or 4 innings. And realistically, 3 innings is minimal. Like, you need to get him. He has to get you through the second, third, and fourth. If you feel comfortable and he goes through the order fine the first time, maybe then you let him go out there and see the 5th inning. But 3 innings, minimal duty from Quinn Priester tonight has to be in a requirement deal. He has to give you more than an inning at this point, Charlie.
I would say it's 4 innings. After going not even 1 inning in that first appearance, I think he really needs a bounce-back game. I think he needs to come out and be dominant for this team because that's what he's been all year. Again, we talked about it. Outside of Aaron Ashby, he's been the most consistent player in that pitching rotation, in that bullpen, whatever it is, in that pitching room. He has been there and been the guy that you could rely on for this Brewers team the entire season. And that first game that he appeared in the playoffs, he did not look like that same pitcher. This is a perfect opportunity when he comes out into this game in a home environment against a team that he's dominated before. Q put that in the chat before. I think this is something that he should build a lot of confidence on and be able to go 4 innings, more than 3 innings, I think.
Yeah, I think it's got to be somewhere in that area. It can't be anything different than that at this point. And the other thing, too, about that is when you start talking about where to go after Quinn Priester is going to depend on where you are in the baseball game, right? So if you're up by a couple of runs, I think you go to your high leverage relievers. If he can get you through 5 or 6, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm okay bringing out a Koenig at that point. I'm okay bringing out a couple of my hard throwers to get you through it. Do you go lefty, righty, lefty? Does Robert Gasser see time in this game to flip the script again on the Dodgers? Because what's going to happen, I would imagine, is once you get Priester in there, that's going to be what they're going to be happy to see. You bring Gasser in behind Priester, now all of a sudden it's advantage Brewers pitchers again, Charlie.
It is. I think it's been advantage Brewers pitchers all season. That's what they've relied on. Last season, that's what they relied on. I know this year the offense has been revolutionary. It feels like they've been more consistent than we saw last year, but it's still based off of the pitchers. It's still based off of that side of things and where everybody gets their confidence and their juice from. It's from the pitchers getting a good start that way, and then the bats living up to what the pitchers set out before them.
Steve Sparky, Fifer with you, Charlie Usen as well as we broadcast live from the studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain. The question we're going to ask you now, concerns the Brewers' record against this Dodgers baseball team earlier this year. Brewers went 6-0 against the Dodgers in the regular season. Did not lose a single game to this baseball team all season long. Now, are things different? Absolutely, things are different, right? Blake Snell did not pitch. Ohtani was still coming off of his injury. He did not pitch. He hit, but he did not pitch, and he is going to make a start in this series right now. How does the expectations you have for the NLCS change because the Brewers were undefeated against the Dodgers in the regular season? Nikolai Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Want to hear from you. I'll give you my thoughts on this quickly here. I am concerned about this series for the Milwaukee Brewers. I am concerned about this series because of the starting pitching going for the Dodgers. Now, again, I can, be sunshine and rainbows and all that fun stuff too. But we have to be realistic here of what they're going to throw out there. Yamamoto is the real deal. Snell, when healthy, and he is right now, is the real deal. Ohtani has not had a start here in, over a year. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But they have guys that can go 5, 6, 7 innings to where they don't have to use their bullpen that has struggled to this point, which puts them in a much better position. For the Milwaukee Brewers, it's about getting pitch counts high, like we talked about in the first hour with Kurt Hogue, the Brewers beat writer of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. This is the series where let's throw some pitches. Let's see Snell get to 20 pitches in the first inning. That's really what you're hoping to do, right? Do not chase pitches. And to that point, if you don't chase pitches and you hit strikes and swing at strikes, now you have an opportunity to score some runs and get the starting pitchers out of here as soon as possible. You bail these guys out on when they actually make bad pitches, then you are going to put yourself right behind the 8 ball, and it's going to be a long series, Charlie.
I mean, I'm not really worried about the Brewers swinging at bad pitches. It's about when you make contact that you're making solid contact for this Brewers team. Again, I've talked about this. Sometimes it feels like they put themselves into bad situations because they're constantly hitting ground balls that result in double plays or pop flies that just don't really go anywhere. But in a game like Saturday, when you see that power come through, you see 3 separate guys be able to make great contact and what it can do to alter the momentum of that game. I think that's really the big key here. This team has been really resilient and not swinging at pitches that are way outside of the zone. But it's about when you are going to swing that you do it with intention and that it results in something good for the team, not resulting in something that is doubly worse than a strikeout.
Yeah, no question about it. The other part about this is this 6-0 advantage that the Brewers had. If this was reversed, if the Brewers had not beaten the Dodgers all season long, the national media would simply be saying it's over. Like, not only can they not beat them, they haven't beat them in the regular season. They're in the Brewers' heads. The Brewers are screwed. It's all done, right? The Dodgers are going to roll them like they did in the regular season. That would be the conversation heading into this thing. The Brewers are on the other side of it. They're up 6-0 in the regular season. They've never lost to them. Who have you heard at any point in all of this in the last 48 hours talk about, Brewers haven't lost to the Dodgers. Dodgers can't seem to get the Brewers number. It's going to be a long series for the Dodgers. Nobody. After that game was over, when they clinched, or when they won the NLDS, Pedro Martinez comes on, and Pedro Martinez, to his credit, goes 50-50. No idea who to pick. No idea. I think this is a really tight series. I don't want to pick anybody because I think the Brewers are going to give them all they can handle, that being the Dodgers. I think it's going to be a tough series. Then you have Dodger players saying, stop with all this nonsense of average Joes and everything else. They were the best team in baseball. Can we stop calling them average Joes at this point? That is a really good baseball team that we're going to be facing. So they don't want to hear the average Joe stuff either. Just like me, I've had my fill of it. So they also are not buying into that. It's just funny, though, that if it was reversed, Charlie, people would be burying the Milwaukee Brewers at this point because they didn't beat them in the regular season. Roles are reversed. Nobody even cares that the Dodgers haven't won a game against them all year.
That Pedro Martinez was the only semi-positive comment I feel like I saw at all.
Right.
The entire time. Everybody that was sitting here saying, all the people on Twitter that were putting out the fact that the Brewers are 6-0 during the regular season against this Dodgers team would follow that up by saying, wow, I think the Brewers may actually have a chance in this. That's the most confidence they're getting right now from their own fan base. Sometimes it feels like. I mean, I know the Dodgers are a team that's built for the playoffs, but they haven't shown that at all, A, in the regular season, or B, in the playoffs so far. They've played not great. The Cincinnati Reds weren't a very good baseball team. They were just the last team into the playoffs there and got hot at the right time. And the Dodgers didn't exactly destroy them. They went up against the Phillies, and the only reason they beat the Phillies in that series is because the Phillies made mistakes, consistent mistakes, especially late in that game. And that was the reason. This Brewers team doesn't make those mistakes. This Brewers team has a resume against the Dodgers that shows they're a better team than them. And right now, they're the hotter team because that last game against the Cubs was pretty dominant. So you have to be confident as a Brewers fan going into this. If you're not, then how is the team supposed to be confident going into this?
That absolutely is right. Charlie Houston, C. Sparky Fifer with you. That dugout YouTube chat going on right now. Jeff says, the Dodgers starting pitching scares me, but Joey Ortiz's bat scares me even more. Can we just address that quickly here? I don't care about Joey Ortiz's bat. I don't. We've talked about Joey Ortiz's bat or lack of bat all season long. This has been going on since April. He got hot for a stretch, and outside of that, Joey Ortiz's bat isn't very good. Joey Ortiz's best weapon is the walk. Right? If he can walk and get on base, which he's been able to do somewhat, if he's able to walk and get on base, you feel good. But they are not going to win or lose this series, I don't believe, because of Joey Ortiz's bat. And if they do, it's not going to be Joey Ortiz's fault at the end of the day. He is on this baseball team, I promise you, for his defense, for his unbelievably great defense at shortstop. That's why he's there. If he hits 200, 250, whatever he hits, doesn't matter. It's icing on the cake. He's out there for his defense. Now, if they want a better offensive player, odds are they're going to take a step back defensively at shortstop. And if they wanted to do that, they can play Monasterio. Also not very good with a bat, in my opinion, but he's had a much better year than I thought he was going to have this year. So that's your other option. Me personally, yes, Ortiz comes up with the bases loaded all the time, Sparky. All year long, he comes up with the bases loaded. It's actually comical at this point that literally you should have Christian Yelich maybe batting 9 just to make sure it's not Joey Ortiz with the bases loaded. But they're not going to win or lose this series because of Joey Ortiz's bat. There's just no way. They're going to win or lose this series based on Christian Yelich, William Contreras, Andrew Vaughn, Jackson Chourio, Bryce Terang, Sal Frelick. Those 6 dudes, if they hit well and they play well in this series, they have a chance to win this series. If they get shut down by Dodger pitching and they can't generate anything in the top 6 of this lineup, then they're going to lose this series. Plain and simple. Caleb Durbin is nice. He's not going to decide the series. Joey Ortiz is not going to decide the series either. So as long as we're all understanding where the key to all of this is, those are the keys. Everybody else other than those 2. And Durbin has played well, but I'm not going to put the weight of the world on Caleb Durbin and say he's got to go win the series for him, Charlie.
No, both Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz, even Isaac Collins to some degree at this point.
He hasn't even, he's barely even played.
They barely even got him in there. Like guys like that, they're on this team so that they maybe will have a magical moment in a series like this. If they don't do that, you can't be disappointed in them. You got to just be happy that they may do it. And they've done that all season where these types of guys have stepped up when you needed them to step up. So, no, I don't think Joey Ortiz is going to be the reason this team loses the series. But I could see a world where Joey Ortiz could be the reason they do win this series because they love him so much and he is a part of this culture. You talked about his defense, and that's why he's in the lineup. I think the other side of things is that everybody that's in that starting lineup loves Joey Ortiz. They're always posting pictures with him. He's one of the guys that's like one of the leaders in that clubhouse right now. He just connects everybody. That is extremely important to Pat Murphy's role in success to this team, is building that culture and keeping a guy like that in the line.
Derek in the YouTube chat says ESPN is still ignoring the Brewers. Let's win this and get the national media's respect. Yes. Listen, I don't think we can disagree, but I don't think they're being disrespected necessarily. But I think what is happening is they're looking at the resumes of everybody in that lineup and everybody in that starting rotation and going, man, like realistically, they should win this series based on that. But as Kurt Hoke said earlier today from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, this game is not played on paper. You have to go out there and actually do something. So go do something. And if you crush the Brewers, fine, then you were right. And, you guys were as great as everybody thought you were going to be. The Brewers, in my opinion, must win today or tomorrow. Must. If they lose both these games and head out of Milwaukee down 0-2, they're cooked. If they win tonight, that's what I'd like to see. Now, all of a sudden, the Dodgers are looking at game 2 going, we have to get game 2 so we can win this thing in L.A. They will not want to fly back across country for game 6 or 7 in Milwaukee. I promise you, they do not want to come back here. So they want to get one of them. The Brewers must get one of them. Dodgers don't have to get one of them. The Brewers must get one of them, Charlie.
This is a huge series for the Milwaukee Brewers. I think this means a lot for their franchise and the history of this franchise. For the Dodgers, I don't really think they're in a bad position at all. I think they can go out and win this series and go and win a World Series, and they'll be happy about that.
Right.
I think they could lose the series and watch the Brewers go and be successful with a really small payroll, and in the offseason be really happy because that's going to help their ownership and front office, because the Brewers are going to prove the point that you don't need a lot of money and that there isn't a reason for a salary cap or anything like that, because the Brewers can go out and do that. So the Dodgers are sitting here thinking that this is a win no matter what for them. The Brewers have a lot more on their shoulders for their fan base, for their city, for just the team. And I think that is part of the reason why they're going to go out here with a different fire and definitely take at least one of these games out.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. And we talked about this before, which is this is bigger than just winning this for Milwaukee. This is bigger than winning it for the state of Wisconsin. This is about changing possibly how teams are built in Major League Baseball. And I use Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, right? Jacking all those threes. Listen, that had been done before. D'Antoni did it with the Suns, with Steve Nash and Stoudemire and all those guys in the Matrix, all those guys, Sean Marion. But guess what? They never won. So it didn't matter. Golden State went and did it, and they won. And they played better defense than Phoenix did. If the Brewers win a World Series this year with this, and then come back intact with a chance to go do it again next year, after 2 years of this, people are going to start rebuilding their lineups to look more like the Milwaukee Brewers. Not that they're going to stop spending money and be like, oh, you know what? We'll be one of the lowest payrolls in baseball and try and win like them. No, but building it with speed, building it with plate discipline, caring about batting average and caring about things that everybody else doesn't care about anymore, caring about taking the extra base when given to you. Those are the things. That's how this Brewers team will change the landscape of baseball if they win this. That's why this is such a big deal to me and probably to everybody else around Major League Baseball. Remember, there is a work stoppage more than likely guaranteed to happen after the 2026 season. We could lose all of the 27 season before this whole thing is said and done. If the Brewers were to go win this and show everybody that, listen, you can still win at a high level if you just play the right way. Now, obviously, talent evaluation comes into this, right? And you've got a great talent evaluator with this Brewers organization. Several guys that know how to do their job, right? David Stearns was that guy. Matt Arnold is that guy. All the guys behind them that are in that Brewers front office and in that scouting department all know what they're doing. So you still have to have all the right guys in place. You can try and do this if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, but it means nothing if you can't evaluate talent, if you can't develop talent, which, again, the Brewers have shown they can do time and time and time again. That's the thing that changes everything. So, this is a big, big deal, not only for the Brewers, but for baseball. He's Charlie using Sparky Fifer over here. Coming up 5 o'clock, the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz. Get you ready for the Brewers and the Dodgers coming up today at American Family Field, Game 1. 2-hour pregame show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook from 5 to 7. He'll be back there. I'm staying here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound, co-hosting from here with Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 7. Come on out, say hi. Great food, great drinks flowing out here already at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound. And again, you got the shuttles going right over to the game. So you park over here in the neighborhood, take the shuttles over. I'm assuming that there will be a lot of people out just watching the game here at Kelly's. Maybe not even have tickets, but are just got their seat at the bar, got their seat at the table, and they're going to hang out and watch the game tonight. And I always say it's much better to watch with a group of people than cold and lonely on your couch like I did for so many years. It's just such a much better atmosphere. See Sparky, Fifer, Charlie using over there. Things that we missed coming up next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound. Thanks to our friends over there at Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. 100 calories, no bubbles, just deliciousness. Order yourself vodka iced tea courtesy of Sun Cruiser today, regardless of where you're at. Even if you're not here at Kelly's Bleachers, try one. You'll try one and be like, damn, Sparky, that was pretty good. I should listen to you more often. You should. That's right. Yes, you should. So make sure to check that out. Kelly's Bleachers got all the shuttles going to and from the game. So make sure to come out here before every home game, whether it be the rest of this year, next year. Kelly's Bleachers is your home to get to and from the game. All right, so quickly here, things that we missed. Mr. Brian Branch, who we talked about earlier in the game from the Detroit Lions, suspended for a game for his actions yesterday, refusing to shake Mahomes' hand. That didn't get him suspended. But when he shoved Smith-Schuster, that's what essentially got him suspended. And I feel like that's the right move, Charlie Usen.
Was he suspended by the league or by the Lions?
NFL.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the right move. I think the NFL definitely should have stepped in on that. It was something where, again, when you watch the video, it was pretty egregious. He literally walks behind the line. Smith-Schuster was obviously saying something to him, but he just full-on body shoves him to the ground, gets it. Somebody else gets in the way and starts fighting with Brian Branch then, too, the offensive lineman. I mean, it was just bad. It was a bad look for him, bad look for the team, bad look for the league. It was a smart decision to suspend, for sure.
No doubt about it. Earlier in the show, we had people on YouTube going, oh, they're not going to talk about the Badgers today. I don't blame them. And I said, listen, and when we get to 440, things that we miss, I will touch on them. And we'll do that here before we get to the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, getting you ready for Brewers and Dodgers game 1 of the NLCS over there at American Family Field. I said on Twitter over the weekend, that's enough. It's time to move on. I was the biggest supporter you're going to find of Luke Fickell when they hired him. I was so proud of Chris McIntosh for making that hire. I was so proud for Chris McIntosh going, you know what? Enough is enough of going to bowl games and being satisfied. I want to compete for national championships as an athletic director, and I'm going to help get this program to take that next step from where Barry Alvarez left it. And I said, amen, brother. Let's do our thing. Let's go. Luke Fickell comes in, and they're on social media with all these things telling you they're going to get a recruit or they're going to get somebody out of the portal. And I'm retweeting, oh, yeah, let's go, let's go. I'm all excited. Well, fast forward, and now we have the worst team in the Big Ten. The worst team. Like, there is no doubt. When I tell you this, there is nobody would have guessed this would be the worst team in the Big Ten a couple of years after Luke Fickell got that job. Were there people that wanted Jim Leonard to be the head coach of the Badgers? Absolutely. Were there people mad that Paul Chryst got fired? Yeah, there were some, but there were more people mad that Jim Leonard didn't get the job than were mad that Paul Chryst was leaving. So now you're in this position. Okay, do we finish the year out with Luke Fickell, possibly not win another game in the Big Ten, or a game in the Big Ten, finish the year out and get absolutely destroyed, and then make the move in the offseason to go get somebody else? Or does Chris McIntosh say what I said before the season, which is, I don't care what the record is, he's going to have a chance to compete for a playoff spot in 26 when this schedule gets much easier, no more Ohio States, Oregons, none of that, much easier schedule. Do you then give them the chance to compete for a playoff spot? And then if he doesn't do it next year, you fire him then. You stick by your guns, what you thought before the season, and let this go all the way out. That, to me, is the biggest question that we need to find out the answer to from Chris McIntosh.
Sparky, sorry. You just said that the schedule
who is
this is, you know who this is. You know.
I don't know who this is. I just had something coming to my ear.
Tommy Wirtz is here.
Okay.
Can you explain where the schedule gets easier when your team is an absolute dumpster fire? Can you explain that? Where does it get easier?
Yes, I understand. They look horrible. Yes, I understand. They're the worst team in the Big Ten and so forth.
It's not even close. Yeah, it's not even close.
No,
do you know
the
17th team, the Northwestern Wildcats, do you know how many points they're averaging in conference play? 17.7. Do you know what the 18th Badgers are averaging in conference play?
8, I think.
6.7.
Oh, 6. I was
6
okay.
in conference play.
That's disgusting.
The schedule does not get easier. This team sucks. All right, I'm done. I'll
It
talk
does.
to you in 10 minutes.
No, that's fine. Tommy had to get that off. Tommy has been anti-Badgers for quite some time, which is absolutely fine. I have no problem with that. I think a lot of people are mad at the Wisconsin Badgers at this point. I just think it's a big, big deal here, right? They don't have to pay as much in the buyout if they make it through the end of the year with Luke Fickell, and the frugal Badgers may decide it's worth waiting to save that money. But guys, where are they going next? Where are you going next? If the deal is NIL money-wise, we can't compete. Luke Fickell didn't want to talk about that today. He was asked about it, didn't want to talk about it. Which I understand, it's not going to help anything. But if the belief from Chris McIntosh is we can't compete at the national level, we're not going to win a national championship with that and the money that's being spent. We just can't do it because of whatever the reasons, out of his control. Fine. Then just hire Jim Leonard. Just hire Jim Leonard, bring back Jim Leonard, say, here you go. Coach up a bunch of 3-star kids, and let's see what happens. And I'm not going to pay him anywhere close to what I was paying Luke Fickell. Now, if you say, no, we do have the money to compete with Ohio State and Oregon and the rest of them, fine. Then go get James Franklin or go get somebody like that to bring in here and do this. I would love Cignetti. He ain't leaving Indiana. You see Mark Cuban just gave him like $50 million or something crazy like that. He ain't going anywhere. He ain't leaving that job for no matter what. There's rumors out there right now that Matt Rule at Nebraska may end up going to Penn State to be the Penn State head coach. And Rule's talking about how he loves Nebraska and all this. But then he says, but I love Penn State and I love the people over there. So Matt Rule very well will leave Nebraska and go to Penn State. And guess what? It's going to happen in Nebraska. They're going to be Wisconsin. Wisconsin and Nebraska have been the same thing for the last 3 years since Rule got hired in here. They're better than the Wisconsin, right? They're not the worst team necessarily like Wisconsin is, but there's going to be more change of foot there too. I guess I would be surprised if they fired Luke Fickell before the end of the year. I think when the season's over, they fire him. Because, again, if the buyout is that much of a difference, and it appears it is, then why would you do it now? You're still going to stink the rest of the year. You brought in Jeff Grimes to fix the offense. The offense is worse now than it was before.
Worse, yeah. It's gross. Like I said that before. It's gross to watch this team play football. I think the biggest thing with like firing a Luke Fickell potentially in the middle of the season is that, yes, it doesn't change anything, but all of a sudden it just takes eyes off of you for the rest of the year, and you don't have to worry about all this extra pressure. You can just reset quietly. When you have Luke Fickell with the team on the field, it is just constant this talk about how NIL can't compete, how he's taking so much money, how the team is so bad. You get rid of him, you just lose that. And I think that's something the Badgers need right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. We only got a couple of minutes left here. I want to talk briefly here on the Bucks before we get to the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The Tommy Word's coming up from 5 to 7 out here at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain. I'll be here till 7 o'clock. I got one here from Jim Ozarski. You know who Jim Ozarski is? Ever heard of him?
I have. He's a friend of the show.
He is. Bucks beat writer from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He texted me, how does the Brewers' LCS results affect Giannis's future in Milwaukee? With him being part owner of the Brewers and so forth. Like, if he wins a ring as an owner with the Brewers, does that then convince him, you know what, I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. I don't really need to flirt with every NBA team every offseason to see if I want to stay in Milwaukee or not. Maybe a Brewers World Series ring gets him to stay going forward.
No, it just means that the Yankees are going to start texting him along with the Knicks, I think.
Oh, yeah. Would you just stop? Why can't you just let me be happy for a little bit? Oh, that's right. Your Cubs are out. Hey, want to hit up Potawatomi Sports? Want to hit up Potawatomi Sportsbook before a postseason game but need a ride to the game? Hit 2 balls with 1 bet by hitching a ride on the Potawatomi Game Day Shuttle. Make any purchases in the sportsbook or same-day sports bet to get a wristband and seat on the shuttle. Shuttles begin approximately 2 hours before first pitch. Return shuttles run nonstop for 1 hour after the game. For more, visit Potawatomi.com. Bet above the rest. Charlie, how much time we got left here, buddy?
You got 45 seconds.
45. Plenty of time. So thanks for tuning in to Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Again, live from the studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Come on out, hang out with me at Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mountain, going all the way up to 7 o'clock. Tommy Wirtz comes up next with the leadoff show. We'll hear from Pat Murphy. Got all kinds of guests lined up on the next couple hours of the show as well, talking more Brewers and LCS straight ahead here. Next.